Okay, let's do a team review. SOFLRTD Wrangler. I've got that team pulled up from Gavin. Top ranked team in the league by Keep Trade Cut Value, but that's not, I say this in every one of these reviews, we're going to take it with a grain of salt. It's not a huge thing. You know, anyone, you're at 93,000. I wouldn't be surprised if any of these teams win the championship, if this team makes the playoffs and has a good week. Like, a lot of these teams are contending, probably. You had submitted a trade where you moved Brian Robinson, a 4th round pick, a 1st and a 2nd, and got Breece Hall. I think I said you're paying the top end of the market, so you really need Breece Hall to bounce back. So we'll look at your team. We've got Drake May, Kyler Murray, Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa. That's probably where a lot of this value is. For me, it's about a solid 3 in terms of production and flexibility. I don't really want to be holding 4 quarterbacks. I do like Tua. I'm a Tua believer. So we'll talk about these guys in moves you can make. Running backs, you now have Breece Hall and Chase Brown and James Conner. That's 3 starters. This is a really solid 3, possibly, or a very weak 4. It's a made-up ranking scheme. It's just kind of get you an idea of what's strong about your team. Wide receivers, you've got Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Ibuka, Burden, Mooney, and then some dart throws. This is probably a 3 as well. I'd like to see a really good second option ahead of T. Higgins. I'm just not a massive T. Higgins believer. A lot of the value or analysis for the Bengals is just they need to throw this year, and we don't know that. Like, we don't know that their defense doesn't get better. They have a new coordinator. They drafted a lot of guys on defense. If a team goes from very bad defense to just okay, that changes an offense in a notable amount. So wide receivers are okay. This is probably where we'll want to add the most. Tight ends, Trey McBride, Ben Sinnott, Zach Ertz. Trey McBride's going to get you to a 3 or a 4, and then nothing else really behind it. Like, Zach Ertz can be a 1-week guy. I mean, honestly, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm wrong when I say nothing behind it. Zach Ertz can probably be a top 12 guy this year. So this is a 12-team start 11. You've already moved your 1st and 2nd as part of getting Breece Hall. I think that's the high end of the price range for Breece Hall, but it doesn't mean you're ruined. And it doesn't mean it's a horrible deal. This team is probably contending this year. If we're building out 11 roster spots and we go Drake May, Murray, or some combo of Fields and Tua each week, Trey McBride, maybe even Zach Ertz, Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Ibuka, Breece Hall, Chase Brown, James Conner, and an 11th would be Burden and Mooney. We're starting to run into some rough options at the bottom of the roster. And the top end options aren't totally there either. So what can we do to get more value into your lineup this year, week by week? Because you're going for it. And I think we got to move a quarterback. And the one that I would move, me personally, would be Drake May. You've got 3 options here that are all going to do probably as well as Drake May or better. It really wouldn't surprise me if Tua just had a better year than Drake May. Like, we don't know that he's going to take a step forward. We think young quarterbacks should get better in year 2. The wide receiver room there just hasn't gotten massively better. Stephon Diggs is a nice veteran, but behind that, it's Demario Douglas, the guy whose name I already have forgot, Jalen Polk, and other receivers of that tier. Like, I don't know that any of them are good enough to make a great offense for a quarterback. And we hope he runs and we hope he takes a step forward, but I'd probably rather be starting any one of these 3 guys going into the year and just move Drake May for a really strong receiver. You could target someone like Drake London. I would shoot high. So let's, top 10 guys. Drake London is up there. Puka's probably a little too high, but you could see what the Puka owner, I mean, they're way down here. Do they think that Drake May is better than Patrick Mahomes? These guys are ranked 6 and 7. Does he see it as an up tier, a young guy who might view himself as starting a rebuild? Could you get Puka if you throw in a little bit? like that's a conversation I would start. Like he's wide receiver 6 on Keep Trade Cut as of this morning. I'm looking at like wide receiver 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, any one of those guys with combinations of different pieces on either side to make the deal go through for moving Drake May. And then that's just extra weekly points scored every week to get you closer to the playoffs, because you're not really taking a step back by starting Kyler, who probably will outscore Drake May, starting Justin Fields, who could easily outscore Drake May, and Tua, who could easily outscore Drake May. Other options for tier downs, since you did such a big kind of value pull and tier up into Breece Hall, it's possible you might need, not need, but that moving down from Justin Jefferson to get more points into your lineup each week, or Trey McBride. I'd probably start with Trey McBride. Can you get a really good receiver and Hawkinson? I really like Hawkinson as a tier down target. I don't know that you need to. I mean, I think in a start 11, your team is good enough to be competing week in, week out. It's just not a slam dunk that it's going to make the championship and win it. But if you move Drake May and get more points in your lineup each week, that'll get you a lot closer. If you sold high on Higgins and were able to get some value for Tajay Spears at the same time, those are the types of moves I would be looking to do on this team. Really taking any of these good pieces, James Conner, or like Chase Brown, T. Higgins. I don't know that I want to do it. This type of, like, the type of move I'm talking about is like T. Higgins and Tajay Spears. We don't love Tajay Spears, but if we can get second round pick value back, and all we have to do is move T. Higgins for a different receiver or different player combination, I would just be rotating through players and trying to get value for guys like Spears, Braylon Allen, Darnell Mooney, so that, if it's picks, and then I'm using those picks in deals to tier back up in the next couple weeks. So I wouldn't feel tied to anyone. As long as you're in your deals, you're sending away the worst piece and getting full value for it. That can help get you picks that you can move for players back into your lineup and bolster this team for the playoff run. So that's where we'll leave it. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions. If you make any follow-up deals, send those in. Let me know. All right, I'll mark this one completed, and we'll move on to the next one. That was your trade. We've got Travis Fulgham. Sounds about right. And then we'll queue up the next one. Gavin just went through. Yeah, so this is for Michael that we're doing. And then we'll queue up the one for Doyle. All right, Michael, TravisFulghamsham. I'm not sure the name on this. 12 teams, start 11, PPR with a full point tight end premium. Your team is near the top. 100, 100, and then a 10,000 point swing. I would say based on player age, this value could be basically negligible, 100 to 91 in terms of production. Once we start getting down, 25,000 lower, that's where I would be surprised if a team like this really jumped up and beat you based on how you use the value you have. But let's talk about your team. Okay, it's start 11. So Jaden Daniels, Tyler Shuck, Shadur Sanders, Aaron Rodgers. You've got 2 starters. I made a video on Rodgers today. He's probably a solid starter number 2. We'll look at how your team manages having so much of its value put into quarterback, but this is probably 4. Jaden Daniels is probably just going to get you to a 4. You have some dart throws for the future, and you have a first to get a new quarterback next year, or some picks to get another old veteran, so I feel okay here. Running backs, Bijan, Hampton, Breece, Judkins, really, really good. I'm probably going to call this a 5. You got some dart throws down here, not a ton of garbage. Wide receivers, Nico Collins, Garrett Wilson, Rashee Rice, T. Higgins. That's a strong, solid 4. I mean, that's a really, really good 3 or a weak 4. I meant counting a strong starting 4, and then as a rating, strong 3 or weak 4. Rashid Shaheed is probably starting for you as well. Tight ends, TJ Hawkinson, Mark Andrews. Evan Ingram could be something for you. Team looks solid, well-rounded. Really good across the board. You've got picks for next year that I'm not going to say that you shouldn't move. Like, I'd totally be fine if you were moving 26 firsts because your team is well-rounded, looking good, young, that we don't see many age cliffs other than quarterback, but you can solve quarterback with other sorts of down tiers. You know, if say Quinshon Judkins or Omarion Hampton are both really good, even if Aaron Rodgers retires, you could down tier from one of them and get a good quarterback for next year. So that doesn't worry me. Let's take a look at some options for you. We'll build a starting lineup and we'll see kind of how many, do you need more spots? Can we increase the value of some slots? I'll just try to get to 11. So you've got Daniels and Rodgers, Hawkinson. You might end up starting Mark Andrews, Nico Collins, Garrett Wilson, Rashee Rice, T. Higgins, Bijan, Hampton, Brees, and Quinshon. So Quinshon will get you to 11, and then Shaheed and maybe Tootner. These guys are filling out your lineup from week to week. And on start 11, it's going to be hard to manage any sort of injuries. But you've got 11 guys. Sorry, I thought I was about to burp. You've got 11 guys. The only spots where I'd consider really any moves is moving picks to get extra players to help bolster this. Can you get Mike Evans or Devontae Adams onto this team? Could you tier down possibly from one of these running backs and just get another good receiver? I would be open to moving any one of these four, really, as long as you're getting the full price for them. So it might be harder for Breece Hall, but moving from 4 running backs to 3 really good running backs and a wide receiver, a better wide receiver, maybe some sort of package of T. Higgins and Judkins, and you come away with Kamara and a really good receiver. What does that look like? Yeah, this guy might want a better young running back option. And can you get, if you're putting, I don't know the exact mechanics of the deal, but I would talk to this guy like, hey, do you want Judkins? You send me Kamara, I'll send you Higgins, and then we're looking at doing a massive up tier somewhere else. Up tiering to Brock Bowers or something like just looking at stuff that he has. Bowers, and then you figure out the pieces in the middle. Other deals you could make, if you got Bowers, you would then be selling probably Hawkinson and Andrews for other things. I would be open to doing a down tier from Jaden Daniels. You're looking to get someone in the, Jaden Daniels, I would be looking at anyone in the top 10. Does the Jalen Hurts owner want to give you a first on top of Jalen Hurts for Jaden Daniels? And then you're using that first with another one to go buy Drake London, go buy Marv, and a little bit extra. I would be looking at moves like that. When you have a guy who's at the top of the value chart, he's QB2 and he's probably player 2 overall. I'm always fine with selling at the tippy top if you're getting that full price back. And Jalen Hurts and more is that full price at QB5. I would just go down the line and send out very high offers of Jalen Hurts for QB 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a bunch of stuff on top and see if you get anything that just gets you into the lineup, really push in for this year. Other options, you don't have to do that one. That's just stuff I like to do. Other options would be grabbing good value to production veterans. So we looked at Kamara. I'll try to grab Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, AJ Brown. I like DK Metcalf. You're stacked at running backs, but you could tier down from one of these guys and get Derrick Henry. Like Derrick Henry probably outproduces Quinshon Judkins this year. So if you got more value on top of that and moved a player to get, higher end receiver option, Nico and Judkins for Henry and a great receiver. I would be just trying to find pairings of one of those running backs and a receiver or tight end to up tier at that other position. Let's check any other things. No, that generally covers what I would do with a team like this. So we'll move on to the next one. Thank you for sending it in. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments of this video. Or you can submit trades for review and put your notes in there. And I'll be able to come see your team and the league as well. So we'll queue up the next one. That was Travis Fulgham. We queued up Doyle. Doyle's got 2 submitted here. We'll queue up Flipsy. Doyle is at the top of his league. 10 by 10 Superflex PPR. This one looks like it may have, this one league looks pretty even across the board. So I would say it's kind of wide open. I haven't gone in and seen who's moved things for picks, but just off the top, like you're at the top. Let's see if we can get you across to the championship based on who you've got. 10 by 10 Superflex, quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Caleb Williams. That's a really, really, really good 4, possibly 5, just based on you have so much flexibility and value here. I don't know that we have locked in production from these guys. Let's go on to running backs. Bucky Irving, Saquon Barkley, James Cook, James Conner. 4 starters. It's probably a 4 again. Like really good options. Definitely not a 5. I don't know that we have any of the top pieces here, but we've got some room to make moves. Wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Rashee Rice, Roma Dunze. 3 really good ones. And then Josh Downs, Brandon Ayuk. We're hoping to see Ayuk bounce back. Maybe Josh Downs takes another step forward. And then we've got some dart throw guys here. Sam Laporta, Tucker Kraft, Mark Andrews. Okay, you got 3 options. So it looks like in a 10 by 10 super flex, just a full PPR, no tight end bonuses. Can we get to 10 really good options? So if we're looking at production, like Daniels and May or Daniels and Caleb, Laporta, Barkley, Irving, Cook. We're just trying to get to starters. James Conner could be starting for you, but CeeDee Lamb, Rice, Odunze. Yeah, so we probably go Conner or Downs as the 10th guy. Maybe Ayuk bounces back. I'm saying this team's contending. We can do some things to move some of this extra tight end value into your lineup, move some of this extra quarterback value into your lineup. Let's try to find some moves for you. I don't really think we need to do any sort of tearing down from Lamb or tearing off of Saquon. You've got guys for next year. Let's just go for it. You've already moved your first. You've got 2 seconds. Can you move 2 seconds and get, Evans or Adams? Evans is at the bottom here. This guy's already rebuilding. Start talking to this guy about getting Mike Evans. He may also just move DJ Moore for you. And then you've got a little bit more, hopefully longer value left. He's at 28. He'll be 32 this year. This guy at the bottom here of the league, Bryce, looks like he's got some pieces he could be moving to you for those seconds. And if you take your second, which should be late, and the second from you got mossed, I don't know where that, here, that could also be late. As well as young guys. If you're moving Kyle Williams, Jack Besh, I would be looking to move them for DJ Moore, Mike Evans. Let's just get guys that are proven producers and get you over the edge. Is this guy looking to move Chris Olave, who's at wide receiver 32 and could have a bounce back? With a team like yours, you could handle having that level of risk. Speaking of handling that level of risk, I think we got to move one of these 3 guys and either do an extreme tier down to have a really cheap third option or just move them entirely. So we could do an extreme tear down to Aaron Rodgers, Tua, Geno Smith, if you're adamant on holding 3. But if you've got a guy who's already as QB7, like when I talk about someone like Drake May, I think, how does he get ahead of Jalen Hurts at QB 4 or 5? it's really, really hard. He has to become as good as Josh Allen, and most quarterbacks aren't Josh Allen. There's only one. There's really only been one or two guys that good ever with the rushing upside, like Josh Allen, Lamar, maybe Jaden Daniels, who you have. I don't know that we're being realistic about what the ceiling for Drake May is, and you can get QB7 price for him. So I would just look to move him and get another receiver and roll with Daniels and Caleb, and maybe grab someone like Aaron Rodgers if you're worried about needing a third quarterback, or Geno. That'll help you get closer to the championship, and when you're in those playoff weeks, when you should be getting to the playoffs, you don't want a ton of your value just sitting on your bench insulating you for next year. Like, championships are why we do this. So let's move one of these guys and get points each week. And that'll also insulate you against some injury concerns. That's probably the easiest thing to move, or the easiest path towards more weekly wins and more playoff wins. I already mentioned moving Williams and Besh. Your team doesn't really need that youth with that sort of upside if you could just cash it in to get you closer to a championship for Evans. You don't really need running back depth, but Kamara's a good veteran to target at running back. Same thing with CMC. I don't want to have a lot of guys like CMC with this much risk, but if you're getting one of them, I think I've mentioned a couple other risky guys. If you end up with one or two of them, your team can handle that level of risk and produce with them. Did we look up who's got Derrick Henry? I don't remember if we looked up Henry for You Got Mossed or someone else on this team. Let's recap it. Move a quarterback, get some receivers, move some of these young receivers for veterans that are already producing. Same thing with your second round picks. This tier, we looked at You Got Mossed because of his picks. These two late round, second round picks, they just don't convert to good value that often. I would be looking to move these. Jack Besh and Kyle Williams were late second round picks. Here's another example of a late second round pick that has not converted. Like, we don't know that Jack Besh and Kyle Williams aren't just the next Adonai Mitchell. I would be looking to sell them to someone down here who may have a little bit of rookie fever and just get veterans and go for it. Thanks for sending this in. If you have any questions, let me know in the YouTube comments, or if I've messed up any sort of the scoring, let me know in the comments, and you can always resubmit it and I'll look at it with fresh eyes. Thanks a lot, dude. All right, we got Flipsy, 14 team, 1 quarterback, start 10 at the bottom. I say this with every review. We take these numbers with a grain of salt. They are not always truly lined up with the production you should expect this year. Some of this is just age or stuff that people think is going to happen. But let's look at your team. It's a 1 quarterback, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray. Those are both good options. Both, if you're starting 14 each week, they could easily both be top 10. Not going to win you any weeks. Not going to win you the league just by having them, but they're not really going to hurt you. It's like a 2 or a 3. Running backs, Hampton, Braylon Allen, Jordan James, and friends. So the 2, like Hampton's carrying that, but I don't know that we're going to see production from him this year. And it looks like we're already in the midst of a rebuild for you. So let's just start talking guys to target this year for a rebuilding team. I don't know that we need to rank each position. It looks like you already know the direction we're going. I don't see enough picks in 26, and you don't have your own pick in 26. What I'm thinking in my head is like, do we have enough picks to just buy the championship team right now? Because that's what you want to do as a rebuilder. Get first round picks. You're not always looking to pick someone with them. You're looking to buy players and go for it. I don't know that you have enough picks to buy players to go for it, because you got to start 10 guys. So if we build out a lineup, let's get an idea of how many we need. We've got Herbert, Andrews, and we got to get 8 more. So we're looking at like Tet, Odunze, Cup, Hampton, Allen, and we need 3 to 4 more. And if we're buying 1, 2, 3, 4, we need to start acquiring more firsts and acquiring more young value rising players. So you've already got a Dunze. You've got Tet McMillan, who we hope goes up. Realistically, a ceiling for him. I mean, I don't know that I'm crazy if I say Tetero McMillan is probably not the next Julio Jones. So if we're trying to think like he'll go from wide receiver 16 to 10, there's some room for value gain. Not a ton. Same thing with Hampton. He's already at running back 6, hoping to move up to 5, 4 as a realistic ceiling. Can we get anything for any of these guys? Probably not. It looks like you've already been trying to do that. If you can get any players in deals, like we don't need to hold these quarterbacks. I'd be fine if they're gone. If you could get Xavier Worthy, Chris Olave is a fine risk to increase in value. You already have Odunze. Can you get Ricky Pearsall on this team? Do something to get him on here. He'll be a value gaining player. We're just looking for stuff that we're really pretty sure will go up. Either one of Xavier Legette or Keon Coleman will probably increase in value this year. Like if Tetero and McMillan is really good and this offense is moving, Legette's going to go with it. That rising tide is just going to lift all the ships. Worthy is another. Xavier Worthy is a really good option. He costs about a first in 12 by 10 value. We can translate that to 14 by 10, but it's probably not that far off. Who has the chance to blow up this year? Rashee Rice should increase in value just in the rest of the offseason. And if he gets suspended and takes a dip, that's probably someone you want to buy because suspension, the value dip he would get during a suspension, you don't care about. You're not trying to win games. And when he comes back is fine. That's just value gain. But you don't have a ton of pieces to buy those guys with. So those are the people I would be looking for to see if they are cheap. Another cheap option, value riser, could be moving a quarterback and getting Tua, who should recover and play fine and play pretty well and see a value rise. There's just not that many spots. It looks like we're doing a lot of waiting and holding. And I personally would be open to selling Hampton, McMillan, or Odunze because we're not competing this year. We're probably not competing in 2026. If you can't compete in the year you're in or the next year, I don't care about young cornerstone assets. I just want these guys to become more firsts that have the chance to grow again. So if you spend 1 first and can sell them for 2 firsts, then you can just treat it like you're just planting those firsts back in the ground and hoping that they go up in value again. First round picks almost never lose their value 1 year to the next year. Like Rome Odunze did not produce. You could still get the 105 or 106 for him in 2025. It takes a really bad year for a first round pick to lose value. So if we have Hampton, McMillan, Odunze as the good assets on this team and 2 firsts next year. We're just looking to get as many firsts in 2026 so that we can probably sell those in 2027 and get a slew of firsts to make picks and buy players. That's what I'd be doing. If you have any questions about that, if I'm not saying that clearly, let me know in the YouTube comments and I can do a follow-up video about that topic on TikTok or just reviewing your team again. Thanks a lot, man. That was Flipsy. I don't think I've done Butch. We'll queue up Butch and Strooperman. So I need to work on the speed of loading the site. But here we go. Was this Butch? Keep Jamaica great again. That was Strooperman. I think I said I would do Butch first. Okay, team review for Butch. Neighbors think I'm in London. I like that. 12 by 9, half PPR, super flex. When we look at the ranking of the teams, I say this for everyone, but I'm going to be giving you a timestamped link of jumping right to your team. So maybe you haven't heard me say this. The keep trade cut value we take with a grain of salt. Value includes current age of the player. It includes like projected production. I'm going to be talking about production we should expect this year, especially for a team like you who's at the top. We can use this to look at this team is probably better than this team and go from there. And you're probably better than a lot of these teams because going from 100 to 66 is a much larger than average swing across the entire league. All right, let's go position by position. I feel like I'm cursed. I am just seeing Drake May on every team I review. Quarterbacks, Drake May, Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy, Zach Wilson. So we do have 3 guys with upside. Some of that upside is already, we're acting like it's already happened. This is probably 3. You've got a lot of potential, youth and flexibility to make some moves. I don't know that the production is going to be there for someone like Drake May at QB7. I don't know that we're going to get QB7 level production, but we've got ways to make moves here. Running backs, Bijan, Josh Jacobs, Chuba Hubbard. Those are 3 solid starters for you. And then we've got some dart throw guys behind that. I don't see any like a couple year old versions of Damian Martinez, guys that we're going to forget in a year. I don't know that any of these guys work out, but it's totally fine to have them. This is a 4 to 5. Josh Jacobs should still be good this year. So maybe a week 5. The rankings don't matter that much. Wide receivers, Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Marvin Harrison, Ted McMillan, Mike Evans, and friends. This is probably same ranking here, like a week 4, 5, a week 5, 4. And then Brock Bowers, yeah, it's the tight end 1. It looks really good. And you have 2, looking at future value, you've got 2, 3, 24, 27 firsts. That'll be a fun moment for you, realizing how much you have there. Watching me realize how much you have there, and a 26 first. So what can we do for this team? You're contending. I mean, let's build a roster of starting weekly roster for you. If we got to get to 9, May, Caleb, and possibly JJ, Brock Bowers, and then we only need 6 more. Neighbors, London, Harrison, possibly McMillan every week, Mike Evans every week, Bijan, and we're already at 9. So we've got a ton of stuff here. What if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? We got a ton of stuff here, and it looks like the obvious move is let's sell some of this and win the championship now. Like, it's cool to say you have all of the picks in 2027, but let's not forget we can win in 2025. We can win money in 2026 and still have enough left over in 2027. Especially with some of the players you have, like Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers can probably in 2 years easily tear down and get you firsts for that draft, and you could still have 4 firsts if we took 2 now and bought a player. So I usually use Drake London as someone that you can get with 2 firsts. You already have Drake London, Marv in that range. Can you use a 26 first and a 27 second and start talking to the guy who has AJ Brown? He's the second place team on the league, so it's unlikely that you could get him. Let's just go to some of these bottom teams and see who do they have. Like this guy, it's usually bottom teams don't want to move rookies. He might sell you Olave, who could be all right. But we're looking for top guys. Can you get JSN on your team? Can you get Brian Thomas from this guy? Again, another young guy, but maybe he's rebuilding for 2027, and you start getting some of those guys onto your team. Similar option here. Does this guy, is he open to moving CeeDee Lamb? Those are the types of players your team should be going for. You're really good at running. You're really solid at running back. If you're worried about running back, I just thought of another move you can make. I mean, if you just go get Derrick Henry for one of those first and then sell Josh Jacobs for more than a first, you're going to end up at similar production this year and have more future value or flexibility. We don't know how many years Josh Jacobs is going to play for the Packers. I think his contract is such that he could be cut each year. Like, he didn't get cut this year, but he could still get cut next year if the age starts to show at 27. So you would just be getting more future value and grabbing like Derrick Henry for similar production. That's a move I would look at doing. Same thing with Alvin Kamara moving from Josh Jacobs. And this is just to get, I'm not saying like, oh, let's sell this guy and get more picks. Like, we want to sell that, get picks, and use those to buy more players. So we're trying to find production lateral moves that can get us more value to buy players. So let's come back to these quarterbacks. I would have you tier down from probably Drake May to someone like Dak. Where's Dak? He's just a top 10 guy when he's healthy. And a team like yours, like having some of this stuff, like Drake May and then a wide receiver version of Drake May, of like, we're hyped that they could be good, but you can already sell them as though they are good and get someone who actually is going to produce this year. Like Dak Prescott is, unless something goes horribly wrong for him, is top 10 numbers. If he's not injured, he's been top 10. And I would bet that he would do it again. You could tier down from Drake May to Baker. See what this guy thinks. It's really about the microeconomy of your league. Like, there's usually someone who is really hyped on Drake May. And if I can sell Drake to that person and get a solid producing quarterback and more value to add into the rest of my lineup, I am. Other spots where you could gain value and put it into your lineup is just moving Kyle Williams. If you can get second round value for him now and then sell your first and, get 26 second, sell a first and a second for a really good player. Like, with a team like this, I'm not waiting to see if every one of these young guys develops, especially with this many first round picks. I'm just not looking to wait. I'm looking to win the championship now. So if you have any questions about that or you hate my takes, let me know in the comments. If you have some trades that come through, you can submit them through my trades. I usually respond to those within the hour. I get an email notification that they've come through. You'll get an email notification when it's replied to. And I can see your team, and we're adding more and more features to this by the day. Okay, thank you so much. I'll mark that one as done. And we'll move on to Strooper Man, was it? Yeah, Keep Jamaica Great, Keep Jamaica Great. You also have Stroop Dad. Not sure if that's your dad. 10 team, 1 quarterback, start 10. We'll go through them. You're near the top. It looks like we've got a team that is far ahead of other people, but there's a lot of teams all in the mix. So I would expect you, unless your team has a lot of like weird value on it, I'm expecting you'll be able to be pushing to make the playoffs this year. And we're just kind of hoping that something happens to this guy. Let's take a look at your team. Quarterbacks, Mahomes, McCarthy, Tua. In a 1 quarterback, 10 team league, it's like a 2. I like Mahomes. I really like him in super flex. There's a chance that he bounces back to that MVP level on offense. I mean, he is still the best quarterback. They just haven't been doing as much offense or needing to do as much. So, JJ McCarthy, I think you've got flexibility. Any guy that's at QB 13 that hasn't done it yet, like we just think that Kevin O'Connell can make him great, that's an option to move. Let's move on to running backs. Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, Ray Davis. You've got 2. And it looks like you guys haven't done your rookie draft yet, so maybe you'll end up with a 3rd. A lot of guys are taking running backs. And then that would be really solid. If you draft a running back, that'll give you the flexibility to maybe move Jonathan Taylor for another receiver. But now that I'm seeing your receivers, this is kind of where your value's at. Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Roma Dunze in a 10 by 9, 10 by 10, is it? This might be a 5, yeah. I'd maybe like to see a stronger fifth and sixth option. So it's kind of like a week 5, but it doesn't matter. This is where you've got your strength. Tight ends, Sam Laporta and Evan Ingram, hopefully for a week. That's pretty great. We'll call that a 4. And then you still have your first. You don't have a second, which is totally fine. You have your first next year, no second. Again, probably fine. Realistically, you could even move Jonathan Taylor for a pick this year and just re-roll at running back and probably get something more on top. So you could do something like Jonathan Taylor and the 108 and more and just get Caleb Johnson. So you get a fresh start and then get another pick that you're using to tier up. Like if you got a first and a second for Taylor and used a second to tier up from Juwan Jennings to another receiver, that's a move I would look at. What other types of moves are there that can get you over the edge for the championship? The biggest one would be Jamar Chase. We're looking at big pieces we can move to get 2 great pieces. So if you're open to it, you would be going, something like London and Ladd. Get big guys. You need to shoot really high. If you go to something like Keep Trade Cut, shoot higher than what it would tell you, because you're in only a 10 team, where Jamar Chase will have more value than in a 12 team league. I don't know that you'll get anything huge, and I would not accept anything less than a monster deal. But if you got 2 other top 10 guys and then just had 4 in the current top 13, that's pretty good to help get you over. We're just looking for stuff to help get you to a championship. With a team like this, I don't mind selling your future picks to get them into the lineup. You're really pushing for the podium here. So you can get some veterans. I've mentioned this list of veterans. You can grab Mike Evans, grab Devontae Adams. A.J. Brown is a solid veteran who will outproduce his value. I mean, this guy is the 8th team. I bet he doesn't even have a first, so he might really want a first and may overpay for the one you have. I don't know which pick you have. From Dylan C69. Cool. Is that the 101? I don't know. I'll update the site soon to get the actual picks on these, but it looks like you have the chance to get a really good player. And if you do, I'd be looking to move some, you either sell that pick and get some really solid extra receiver options, or take the pick and sell some of the running backs that you replace for really solid receiving options. You can move JJ McCarthy as well if someone is going to give you good value on him. But in a 1 quarterback league, he's just not going to be worth that much. But if you can pair him with Juwan Jennings and get a 5th receiver, that's something I would be looking at. I think we've covered most of the options here. You're contending. You're contending this year. You're probably contending next year, where you'll still have your picks, and I think you'll be in a similar situation. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the YouTube comment section. And if you have any trades, you can submit them through the trade review tool on the trade calculator. If you just hit ask, it'll send a notification to me, and then I can take a look at it. I can see your team. I can see the other guy's team and send you my thoughts. Thank you very much. Let's mark this one complete and pull up the next one. That was Strooperman. So we got Chefshorts, D. Douglas, and Bramwell. The wide receivers union. 12 teams, start 11. Where is the wide receivers union for Chefshorts? Okay, so we'll start with, it says bottom 4. You could be 6th. You could be 7th. This keep trade cut value we're going to take with a grain of salt. I don't always agree with keep trade cut rankings. These numbers are usually about implied production for younger players, or some of the value is just tied to youth. So don't get spooked. Let's take a look and see where you're at. Okay, first off, this is good. Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, this is a 5. This is QB 5 from Keep Trade Cut rankings as of this morning. I would have him quarterback 4. This is really good. There's a lot of flexibility here. Running backs, Breece Hall, Javonte Williams, Algier, and friends. You've got the right idea. We're just looking for guys that can get some value. We'll probably try to find a second guy, but I don't know that it's going to be easy. So we'll call this a 2. Like, Breece is good. We're hoping that Breece bounces back, and we're hoping to, I guess, get a bounce back from Javonte. Wide receivers, Puka, Nico, AJ Brown, Pearsall. We've got 4 solid options. Adam Thielen maybe is producing again. He just kind of keeps on living at 35. So you got 4 that are probably weekly starters and possibly a 5th. And then tight ends, we got Kyle Pitts. Future value is looking like a problem. If I had to guess, it looks like you bought big quarterbacks. Okay. Are we contending this year? 12 teams, start 11. Can we count out 11 starters? We would have Daniels, Hurts, Pitts. I don't really like Pitts. And then we're looking at Breece. You have to be starting Javonte, Puka, Nico, AJ Brown, Pearsall, and we got to get 2 more. So if this team wants to compete, like, we're not running Tyler Algier out there week in, week out. We're not happy to run Amari Cooper, who's not on a team, and we're not really happy to every week be starting one of these guys. It looks like if you want to try to shoot for the playoffs this year, or next year, really, or the year after that, we got to tear down pretty soon. That could be moving off of Puka, moving off of Jaden Daniels, moving off of Hurts to get you back into contention more quickly. You do have different paths you could go. You could tear down from Jaden Daniels, multi-step, tear down to, you already have Hurts, but tear down to Mahomes, and then tear down to Caleb Williams, and then tear down to Dak and pick up a first each time along the way. Stuff like that. What is this, 12 by 11? I've done that in a league with Josh Allen. Just did a multi-step tear down, grabbing players, tearing up at other spots along the way to fill out 11 spots. That's got me like back in sniffing, in the playoff hunt. But for you, with no 26 picks, no 27 firsts, so effectively no 26 picks, we're going to need to start moving some of these quarterbacks. If your team isn't contending in the year that you're in or the next year, I don't care about young cornerstone pieces. There's just too much volatility, and it slows down the rebuild having the most valuable asset unable to go up in value. So let's talk about some value riser players you can target in tear downs to go with picks. I'm talking about both Chiefs guys, Rashee Rice and Worthy, both have the option to go up in value. The Chiefs offense has just been so bad that no one can really do anything on it. I mean, they're starting guys like last year, they were starting guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, DeAndre Hopkins. Like, that's just not going to make a functional offense. So I don't look at their stats last year and use that as a prediction going forward. So I'm expecting that both Rice and Worthy could go up in value this year, just based on a large increase in production across the team. So that's why Mahomes would be a tear down target for me from either one of these guys. I would also look at grabbing JSN, Rome Odunze, Ricky Pearsall. Oh, you've already got Ricky Pearsall. You want guys that can just go up in value this year. Young guys who have somewhat proven it, like JSN, and then can prove it more this year. That's the type of player we want to target. I don't know that I see that adding any vets would help this team contending this year very much. I think the best chance at getting you back on track is moving down to solid guys. We're not looking to add junk in these deals. If you're moving Jaden Daniels, he's the best piece and hold strong. You want look at startup ADP. You want quarterbacks from the second round and then a really good player on top, or a mess of firsts. Firsts are stuff that will always go up in value and that you can use to buy real players. I'd be looking to do the same thing with both of these guys. I mean, if you got as low as tearing down to Dak Prescott with these, that helps get you your rebuild back on track, believe it or not. Like, Jalen Hurts is just a leaky bucket player. He's only going to go down in value going forward. By the time this team has enough to fill out 11 guys, like, we're not getting any in 26, we're not getting any in 27. So in 2028, we're adding players with picks or other types of trades, or like waiver wire gold. Like, I just don't see the path where you're getting to 11 starters without moving some of these guys. So same thing, you could move Puka as well. We're looking at tearing down from the top cream of the crop to really good and another player. So you'd be moving from the best quarterback to really, really good and another good player to help fill out the lineup, and you're not losing a ton of production. If you have any questions on kind of ways to do that, you can let me know in the YouTube comments. Thanks for submitting. You can also send your trades. If you go through the trade calculator and you click ask, that sends me an email. I tell you my notes. I see your team. I see the other team, and I let you know what I think. Thank you very much. On to D-Ball's Boys for D. Douglas 13. Top of the league by 10,000. Everyone else really, really close. There's a good chance D. Douglas has found this from a YouTube link with a timestamp taking him right to his team. So I'll just say this again. We take this with a grain of salt. This number is not that important. It's just to put maybe the best team at the top and maybe the worst team at the bottom so we can talk about them like that. Let's go through your roster in a 12-team, 2-quarterback start 10. That's what I like. Again, it's Drake May on every team. May, Caleb Williams, Jackson Dart, Russell Wilson. That's 3 guys starting this year. I'm going to call it a 3. I've been looking at this. I call this a 3 all the time. I'm just not a Drake May lover. You've got the flexibility to move him and get proven production, though. That's usually what I recommend in these videos. Running backs, Jonathan Taylor, Ken Bonewalker, RJ Harvey, Alvin Kamara. It's a really strong 4. You don't have anyone that's going to have the week in, week out possibility to just blow away the other guy and win. Like Jahmyr Gibbs every week has the chance to score 4 touchdowns. Not every week, but we expect that more than Ken Walker. We think it'll happen more with Gibbs than Walker. So you've got really good options here and a bunch of them and some flexibility to move them if we need to. Wide receivers, Malik Neighbors, McConkey, Marv, Jalen Waddle, Luther Burden, and then we get to Jack Besh and friends. Again, probably a really, really strong 4. The value here, the ranking of these doesn't matter as much for anything as much as let's get a landscape of your team. Tight ends, we should probably find one. 12 team start, 10 PPR. There's no tight end premium, so we can get someone. We could shoot for someone cheap, like Travis Kelce would be really good for this team. Zach Ertz can probably be a weekly starter for this team. We could look for, we'll talk about that in moves we can make. Draft picks, you've got your first. Well, you've got other people's first, which is probably better than your own. So nice on that. And then that's kind of all we've got. That's all I care about having. and you've got yourself set up that way. It does feel like you've taken those second round picks and gotten good value. Like the rest of the team feels like it. So let's talk about some moves you can make because you're contending this year. You're contending probably next year. If we're looking at who you're losing, Kamara and Russell Wilson, maybe. And your team is still contending with more firsts with a first round pick next year bolstering it, first round pick after that bolstering it. So let's jump right back to tight end because we talked about that as a need. We mentioned Kelsey. Can you get Kelsey from D3 golfer at the bottom? Probably. If he's not giving him to you for the fourth that you have, or some deal where you're sending Jack Besh to get Kelsey and more. Like that's for your team because you're contending. We don't need this. Like it would be cool if Jack Besh was on your team and developed into something great, but I'd rather just push for the championship and get a player that we think is going to get you over the edge. So that would be Travis Kelce at tight end. That would be Zach Ertz. Obviously, I'm not saying sell Jack Besh just for Zach Ertz. We're looking for a couple pieces that line up. As long as everyone is in the same value range, when you use a trade calculator and it lights up, you're okay. We don't want to take two players that have no chance of getting a first and sell them for a first, even if it lights up the calculator. If you have questions about that, I can make a video. I'm hoping that's pretty explanatory. Looking at your guys, like maybe Arroyo's the guy, maybe Gadsden's the guy. I'd like to just get an older dude and know that I'm fine. If you move a 26 first and get Hawkinson, I don't hate that either. I don't know that he would, but Hawkinson's a cheaper target. Does the Kittle manager, like, is he not competing? He's probably not competing. Does he know he's not? Could you get Kittle for a first and just get yourself into championship contention? Because I don't think we've built out a lineup for you. Like a weekly lineup for you is going to look pretty good. What do we got to get to? 10. May and Williams or Dart. Something at tight end. And then we got to get the rest of these fingers up. So Taylor, Walker, Harvey, Kamara can all be weekly starters for you. Neighbors, McConkey, like you've got plenty of guys. I think we want to start consolidating some of these towards the top. It'd be fine if you moved on from RJ Harvey. Can we start just looking at, like, can we get you Gibbs? Can we get you Achane? Can we get you the other one? Bijan Robinson had a brain fart. That's the type of team you have. A sneaky way to do it, and I'm saying it with anyone who has Drake May, is just sell Drake May. You could tier down to someone who's going to give you really good production, like Dak Prescott. If Dak Prescott's healthy, he's top 10, and you could probably get quite a bit from this guy and use that, Dak Prescott and a bunch on top for Drake May, and then move that bunch on top into your lineup through other trades. We're hoping Drake May takes that step forward, but when your team's at the precipice, I'm not really looking as much for development. You have development in Jackson Dart. It just hasn't been recognized yet. Somehow we think Drake May, who wasn't a QB1 last year, wasn't producing as a QB1 last year, is going to now become one with Stephon Diggs and a good tackle and some coaching changes. Maybe he does, and I will have hours and hours of video of me saying to sell him, and I'll eat my words. But if I have Drake May and I can sell him as though he's the QB7, I would for more proven production. Because you're getting stuff on top. You're not getting junk on top. You're getting good value on top to put into your lineup. You could move one of these running backs. Now would be a fine time to move Jonathan Taylor. Looking at your team, he's one of the oldest guys that still has really good value. Like, you're not going to get a ton for Kamara, and it's probably worth just having him. But if you could get I see what you could get for him, and you're trying to up tier a receiver all the way up to the top, maybe up tier Luther Burden to someone really, really good. I would be taking Taylor Burden, typing it into Keep Trade Cut, and when it says the receivers that you could target, shoot for that and the 5 to 6 guys ahead of them and just send out a message like, hey, what do you think about doing something like this? If they don't like Burden, you do it with Besh, you do it with any of these, because your team should be consolidating your assets and getting as much points into your weekly lineup as you can. So get a tight end, be fine moving this first, see about moving Drake May for locked in production and more production elsewhere. I'm open to moving Jonathan Taylor. Let's wait on Jalen Waddle. I'm open to moving any of these rookies for sure things that are already producing. I'm open to moving one or two of these rookies for veterans. Can you get the 2 of these for DK Metcalf? Unlikely, but I would shoot for it. Can you find some deals with moving Taylor to get a guy like AJ Brown, who is similar? I think he's 28, but he's gonna produce for the next couple years, way ahead of his value. That's the type of player you're looking for. I'd grab one of either Mike Evans or Devontae Adams. You've already got good running backs, but you could do something like, does the Derrick Henry owner want to give you more than Derrick Henry for RJ Harvey? Move a bit of that youth for more production. You'd be looking to get more on top of Derrick Henry back. You're looking for a production lateral move that gives you more value to trade into the rest of your lineup. That's what I would be doing with a team like this. If you have any questions about it, let me know in the YouTube comments. Or if you have any trades you'd like me to take a look at, you can go to the trade calculator, type them in. It does not tell you a score. It just asks me. I get a notification. I see your team. I see their team. And then I send you my thoughts. I see your league scoring, which is the main thing I care about compared to getting trade requests on TikTok. Thank you very much, dude. I'll mark this one complete. We've got... Did we just do this one? I'm just brain farting. We marked it complete. It's done. The wide receivers union we did. And bridge 4 for Bramwell. Okay, let's go by the keep trade cut value. This is all really close. I'd say the only one who probably isn't a contender for the championship or is down here at the bottom, but that's just my guess. We're going to take this column with a grain of salt. We're really just trying to find something that sorts 1 to 10 in your league and give us an idea of who's the best, who's the worst, and we're just getting an idea of it. So don't take this ranking very seriously at all. 10-team Superflex, start 10. Where was your team? Bridge 4. We're here. Let's go position by position. Bo Nix, CJ Stroud, Russell Wilson, 3 starters in a 10-team league. That's probably pretty average. And I'm going to call this a 3. I think we've got flexibility with both of these guys. Bo Nix really did produce like QB9, as opposed to someone like CJ Stroud, who I think was like QB 13 as a rookie and QB 18 last year. A lot of this QB 11, this is from Keep Trade Cut, is just because he's young, and we hope that he takes a big step forward. I don't see a big step forward happening this year, much further past QB 11 production. This may be an option for moves that we're making. Running backs, Hampton, Mixon, Swift, Pollard. That's 4 guys who could be starting. This feels like a 3. That's my gut reaction, a weaker 3. Like, you've got plenty of guys to fill in that running back 2 slot, and we hope that Hampton has a great future. I don't know that the production's going to be there this year with Najee Harris there. Wide receivers, Brian Thomas, Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Travis Hunter, Zay Flowers. That's a great 5. If Zay Flowers is your 5th wide receiver, you've probably got a pretty good set of receivers. Nothing really past that. Jalen Coker's a dart throw. Quentin Johnson's a dart throw that hit the wall. Michael Wilson could be an extreme bye-week fill-in, maybe. And then the rest of these guys could be nice people. I don't know. Tight ends, Colson Loveland, Mark Andrews, Cole Kmet, Theo Johnson, and friends. We're hoping to see a big breakthrough year for Colson Loveland. We're hoping that this is another year in a row that we have a top 3 tight end who was a rookie. There were decades of that not happening, and then it happened a bunch of times in a row. So maybe it happens again. If it doesn't, you've got Mark Andrews for this year. So I think you have a shot at the playoffs. Even in a start 4, if things break your way, like Brian Thomas, Drake London, Garrett, like you have really good options here, and you have some good veterans. But I'm not sure that you will. I'm going to say you're contending, but let's try to find some ways to get you more production and a little bit, more production just across the board in your lineup. So first one would be Stroud or Nix. Down tiering from them. I understand it's cool to see, he's only 24, he's only 25. I'm going to have him for forever. Bo Nix scored a lot of points last year. CJ Stroud just hurts you. So if you could get more secure production from an older guy and then use the extra value on top to increase other positions, I think that gets you closer to a more sure thing for the playoffs. So like moving Stroud for Dak, who is at the bottom of the league. If you could get a lot of value on top of Jordan Love for Stroud, I would do that. Stroud is just one of those guys. There's someone that loves him. Maybe it's you, and you're going to feel like very offended that I'm saying to move him. I've had people say CJ Stroud is a top 5 upside quarterback. Like when? Because I can always name 5 guys I would rather have over him. So he's someone that you move him, and you're not moving him for nothing. You're down tiering to Kyler. You're down tiering to Dak. You're down tiering to Baker Mayfield and getting like a meaningful piece back. You're either getting a very big tier up from Zay Flowers to, you already have Drake London, but tier up into that range of player. Or you're just getting a bunch of picks that you then sell for players. That's the type of move that can help get you closer to the playoffs this year. If someone's going to pay you a lot for Hampton, it's similar logic. He's listed as running back 6. We don't know that we're going to get top production from him, and there will be other future running backs that are really good. So if someone will pay you as though he's already a world beater, I'm open to taking it. You're not taking it for nothing. You're taking it to get another really good running back and a first and something else that can get you into a great wide receiver range. Or you could just sell Omarion Hampton straight up for a great wide receiver. In a 10 by 10, we're talking like top 8 range. Like if you have Drake London, would you have sold Drake London for the 102? Go to the guy who has wide receiver 9, 10, and start thinking like, would I have sold him for that? Because the series of moves you could make would be selling Hampton, getting a stud receiver, and then sending a first for Ken Walker, Kyron Williams range, sending a first and a little bit more for Jonathan Taylor, who's going to give you good production. And then you're just getting stuff into your lineup. Stroud, the value you get on top of Stroud would help you replace Hampton at running back, and then you would just have stud receivers that probably aren't going anywhere. Those are the moves I would be looking to make with this team because I think you can get into the mix. This 99 compared to 108, I don't really care about. As long, it's not insurmountable, especially where you down tier from one of these guys. It looks like a value dip in the quarterback spot, but you're just keeping the same points. It's production lateral moves that add value elsewhere. If you have any questions about anything I've said here, let me know in the YouTube comments. Thank you a lot for submitting it. And if you have any questions about trades that come through, any of those trades that come through, especially with things that I suggested, put them into the trade calculator. When you hit ask, that just sends an email to me, and then I let you know what I think, and you get it back. You would get it back viewable in the site. Thank you very much. That was Bridge 4. I've done Bends You Over. Let's go to Philly Dogs. And then we'll probably stop after Johnny Wolfman. We've been going for an hour. Maybe we'll keep going. Philly dogs. When I look at, first thing I think when I look at this is all really, really tight. Maybe this is coming out of a startup, maybe 1 year in. That's just a fun guessing game I like to play. You're at the top, but you got a lot of people breathing down your neck. So we're going to throw out this column. Like, don't look at it. Don't really care about it. It's just a good way to sort of rank the best team near the top and sort of rank the worst team near the bottom. Let's look at your team and talk about what do you have? What can you do? You're probably contending. Let's talk about it. Jaden Daniels, did I say the scoring? I've already forgotten it. 12 team start 10, half PPR with a full point tight end premium. I really like this scoring. Daniels and Mayfield, it's a really good 4. You got a ton of flexibility with Daniels. You got really good production with Mayfield. We got a dart throw with Milrow. Maybe. But he was probably cheap to get. Really good. Running backs, Taylor, Harvey, Benson, Ramondre Stevenson. This is a 3. Taylor, Harvey are probably the 2 guys that are starting each week. You may have a slow start with Harvey. He is a rookie. Every year, there's going to be an article about a rookie. Someone saying, are the coaches idiots? Like, no, they're not. They know the rookies better than we do, so you may have a slow start here. But because you're at the top, we may start to look to add some veterans to get you through that rookie hump. Wide receivers, Drake London, Tet McMillan, Jamison Williams, Luther Burden, Devontae Adams. It's like a week 3. There's a lot of room to improve here. I think we have the value on the team to improve it. We'll talk about it. Tight ends, Hawkinson, Otten. Hawkinson's like the solid 3 for me. I've talked about him in videos. Injured at the end of 23. Came back late in 24. Wasn't playing his normal snap share in 24. So people think he's bad now. When he was healthy, he was playing about 80% of snaps. Then last year was playing like 55, 60% of snaps. And that difference doesn't seem like a lot, but when he was in the 1 or 2 games where he did play 80%, 85% last year, it was really good. So I'm expecting him to jump back up. I would have him producing ahead of guys like Colston Loveland, ahead of guys in Tyler Warren, just in production. The age is where this value sits at tight end 7, but I think he's an undervalued asset. I really like TJ Hawkinson. Draft picks, you got them all. You're at the top. Let's look at what can you do, because you're contending. You've got one guy at the age cliff. We got to get some meaningful veterans on this team and get you towards a championship, because you're in it. So who can we move? We don't have any amazing tier receivers to get banger deals for. The best guy that we have is Jaden Daniels. Can we get more production if we move Jaden Daniels? Probably. And we're not talking sell him for junk. We're saying sell him for a top 8, top 9 quarterback with really good production and then get a monster piece on top. So go to startup ADP. You're looking for quarterbacks going. This is a super flex, right? Yeah. 12 team super flex startup ADP. You're looking for quarterbacks that are going in the 2nd round, maybe late 2nd, not really that far past that. And can you get a mega receiver back? I'm definitely open to moving Jamison Williams, even with a weak wide receiver room. Maybe you haven't seen my take on Jamison Williams. This wide receiver 22 rank would put him ahead of guys like Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison is younger than Jamison Williams. Jordan Addison has never not been better than Jamison Williams. JMO might take a leap forward and be as good as Addison, but if someone is ranked ahead of anything they've ever done, I just sell them at that price. It's just a good rule to follow. Like, he might break out, but if someone pays you this price or pays you a first and more, then you're just already getting the value as though he did break out, and then you go buy a player who has guaranteed production. So Jamison Williams is a sell. I would be looking to pair him with a lot of stuff. If you could move Jameson Williams and Harvey, and then you're down tiering to Kamara, where you're going to get good production and a great receiver. I don't know how much the math checks out, but I'm looking like for these high-end guys. You may need to add some pieces on either side, but I'm not looking to add a bunch. I would definitely be open to moving JMO and Harvey, or yeah, I think that's who I said, JMO and Harvey for Kamara and a great receiver, because you're going to get similar production at running back. You have a pick to replace a running back. They're not that hard to replace. And then you're getting great receiver, and you don't have to worry, does Jameson Williams actually break out? You just got a better player. I am scanning for your team. Comp Dynasty bends you over. Aren't you Philly Dogs? I'm just losing it. He has also submitted reviews, and I was just reading the wrong column. Cool. So we're back on track. Other moves to make. I mentioned down tiering from Daniels. That just gets production into your lineup. I'm open to selling Harvey to get a veteran or two at running back to set you up for safer. I'm open to moving firsts. You've already got Devontae Adams, so I don't know that I want to invest in Mike Evans as well. You could get older guys. If you could move Jameson Williams and just get, can you get DK Metcalf and more? I would look at that. Metcalf is probably, I'm not going to be surprised if Metcalf outproduces Williams. And then you're just kind of having Metcalf until the end of his career, when he's probably going to provide more value than provide more production than his trade value until the end of his career. Those are the obvious moves I'm seeing. You're at the top, but there's plenty of people right behind you, so we're just looking to get an edge and get ahead. We'll sell a bit on youth to get more production to get the championship. You have youth so that you can get a championship in the future. Your team looks like with a couple moves you can be better set to grab it now, because I don't feel like any of this value is really wasted. You're looking pretty good. If you have any questions about anything I said, let me know in the YouTube comments. And if you have any trades that you want advice on, plug them into the trade calculator, hit ask. It notifies me. I can let you know my thoughts. Thank you very much. On to the next one. Those bends you over. You are Philly Dogs in the same league. That really confused me. Johnny Wolfman. Johnny Wolfman was in the YouTube chat the other hour, a little bit ago. Let's pull up your team. Where are you, Wolfman? Here you are. Looks like we got some more added. Alrighty, Wolfman. Johnny Wolfman is in a 12-team start, 8 Superflex shallow. He's at the 4th spot in the rankings. Johnny, you've seen some of these. You know the deal. We're not going to worry too much about this. Let's look at your team. We want studs on this team. It's Superflex, 12-team Superflex. Burrow, stud. Stroud, not. Richardson, maybe, but probably not. Running backs, Hampton, sure. Tracy, no. Okay. We got some problems at running back. We're going to call this 4. You've got a really good producer. You've got really good name value with not production. Running backs, we're going to call it like a 2. I don't know that the production is going to be there from Hampton this year. And the rest of these guys are like dart throws. I'd like to have something a little more solid if the team is contending. Wide receivers, Nico Collins, Devonta Smith, Ricky Pearsall, Tyreek Hill, Kyle Williams. In a 12x8, this is not looking amazing. Like a 3, kind of a weaker 3. I don't see any top options that are going to win the week for you. Colston Loveland, you probably just drafted him. I am worried about the production at tight end this year for you. Draft picks, nothing notable. An extra second next year. So let's count out 8 and try to figure out, are we contending? Burrow, Loveland probably have to start. I'm guessing that it's 2 quarterbacks and 1 tight end. So Burrow, Stroud, Loveland. And then we got to get up to 8. So we probably have to start Hampton and Tracy. And then Nico, Devonta Smith, and Pearsall. Tyreek Hill. We're at 8 options. We just don't have elite ones. I'd like to see Devonta Smith be an elite option, or Ricky Pearsall be a really, really good option. So what can we do? You've already got Tyreek Hill. Can we move Tyreek? He's not a veteran that I trust very much. Can we do something? So there's a move I've seen. Man, do I like it for you? Moving Devonta Smith and like a late second or a third to get a first with Devontae Adams is something I would consider, because you're getting all this extra value for the future and then production, moving laterally on production. So Devontae Adams and Devonta Smith, it's a Devonta. They're probably going to produce about the same. And one is younger, one is much older. But if you acquire the older one and get a pick, you can then go buy a great receiver as well. So like, for example, you would move Devonta Smith and whatever pick it took in 27 or 26 to get a first and Devonta Adams. And then you would have Collins, Adams, and then take 2 firsts and buy another receiver. So you would have extra production, and then you want to either up tier with Ricky Pearsall to someone really good, or up tier with Pearsall and Hill to up tier to like one of the top options. Because then we're looking at close to like 4 firsts going out. So we want to be getting like Malik Neighbors back. I don't know that you can get Malik Neighbors back, especially in a league that's a little more shallow like this. But if you're moving Smith, gaining a first, that opens up more options. Other places you can get value to move into your lineup is moving CJ Stroud. In his rookie year, he was like QB 13, but I think he missed a game or 2. So like, that's okay. And then we thought he would take this giant leap forward. And now we're just dealing with the disappointment of that. Like Stroud was up to like QB 2 or 3 around this time last year, and then finished QB 18 last year. So the disappointment has had him drop to QB 11, but his value was never right to begin with. CJ Stroud is the same to me as Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence. Like they do the same thing. They're all kind of young, but for some reason we think Stroud is going to heavily outproduce those guys every year. So for you, I would be suggesting a tier down from Stroud. You could go as low as, honestly, if you're getting excellent value, like go as low as like Aaron Rodgers as a QB2. I'm not saying you should do that. I personally would look for Dak. I mentioned Dak a lot. Cool. Would this guy move Dak for Stroud and give you a bunch on top? Or would he give you a Lawrence and more on top? And then you're just getting like the same production, same youth, probably the same production for the next couple of years. People just hate Trevor Lawrence. They've both been pretty disappointing, I guess. But Trevor Lawrence was actually fine last year before getting hurt. Very similar production to Stroud. Dak Prescott, better production than Stroud, but older. You get Prescott, Hubbard, and possibly more for Stroud. And that would just be production in your lineup. That would help get you more secure in your spot in the playoffs and closer to a championship. I'm going to say, unless you're doing like a mega steal deal, hold Pearsall. He's probably just going to go up in value this year. If you're getting paid as though his value has gone up, then you can sell. I would just be looking to sell Kyle Williams to someone who loves him. Maybe you're the guy in this league that loves him, but I don't have massive reason to believe Kyle Williams isn't the next one of these guys. any late second round rookie pick can just become Luke. I mean, Luke McCaffrey wasn't a second pick, but Jalen Polk was a second round pick last year in rookie drafts, and now he's wide receiver 105. If you could turn this into guaranteed value, like right now it's just hypothetical, we hope it happens value. It looks like you had a couple later round picks in your draft, and we're hoping one of them pops. If someone will pay as though Kyle Williams has semi-popped, I would just do it. Pair Hill with Williams and get as high as you can. Pair Williams with Smith and get as high as you can. Tracy and Williams and get a better running back. Those are the type of options that keep this team from just kind of disintegrating in your fingertips. Where you've got Tracy, he performed last year, he could be nothing after this year. We hope Jalen Wright breaks out, he could be nothing. All of these guys could become nothing. Williams could be, Hill could be, Coker could be, Restrepo, down the line. We're trying to get as much sure thing value onto this team to build a good foundation from. So I'd look to move Stroud. If someone will pay you as though Colston Loveland is already producing and you could tier down to Hawkinson, Kittle, I'd be open to doing that. I'm not really doing it for third round picks. I don't want to move from Loveland to a different tight end and get thirds and players of the Kyle Williams tier. I want to do it to get up tiers and amazing players. If you have questions about trades as you're doing stuff, let me know. You just go to the trade calculator, you enter it in, you hit ask, it goes to me, I let you know. I'll mark this one as complete. Thank you very much for submitting it. We can keep going. My family's not home. Let's refresh this so I can see who needs theirs done. This slowness I do need to work on. Johnny Wolfman's is done. Brotherly shove for JaceEdgar. It looks like you submitted the same league twice. And then bobbynobreaks threw in 3. Let's look at JaceEdgar's and see how we're feeling after. 10 team, super flex. Where are you? Brotherly shove. You're at the top. Good. Good for you. So, keep trade cut value. This league looks like it has some monster teams, some good teams, and then maybe some rebuilding teams. I'm not going to dig through everyone, but you're in the monster team. So let's get a gauge of what you've got. I remind myself the scoring. And let's go position by position. You got Hurts, Mayfield, Lawrence, Rodgers, 4 guys. This is probably a really, really strong 4. Hurts has a ton of value and production. Baker Mayfield has a lot of production. Trevor Lawrence probably has decent production. And then Aaron Rodgers. We got a year of him as insurance. We're probably going to talk about some moves you can make here. Running backs, Saquon Barkley, Ken Walker, James Conner. This feels like a really, really good 3 or a week 4. Saquon, we're hoping repeats in his later years. I don't know for sure that he will. Ken Walker, I think we're probably going to get top 12 production. I'm not super worried about his injury history. There are plenty of players that were injured, missing a couple games every year for multiple years, and then we're fine. James Conner played every game last year after multiple years of missing a few games. You've got enough starters to make things work. Najee Harris may be a starter for you. And then you got a lot of friends. One of these will probably get some sort of value. You probably already have a plan for them. I would flip them as soon as they show anything for seconds. As soon as you can get a second for any of these, I personally would be, but it's up to you what you do. Wide receivers, Jamar Chase, Marvin Harrison, JSN, Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith. This is really good for. Devonta Smith's your 5th option. You're looking pretty good. You have some upside in Josh Downs. Personally, I would just cash out because you have so much here. Same thing with these 3. Really, any one of these, I don't need any of these guys on my team if I can just lock it into a better receiver. TJ Hawkinson at tight end. I really like him. This is like a 3, a really good 3. I think Hawkinson's really good. I've talked about him on this video already. I'll probably just make a video about him on TikTok about how much I love him. But solid here. I don't know, his value matches what I expect his production will be, so I'm not going to mention any moves with any of these guys, other than like Gadsden and Arroyo. Because you have Hawkinson, we're looking to get value back into your lineup off your bench. 2 firsts in 26, and then nothing really to write home about. An extra second, maybe you'll hold on that. Let's talk about moves, because this team is contending. We're probably in the next 1 or 2 years going to be adding a running back or two as Saquon and James Conner hit their twilight years, but we don't have to worry about that right now. You have the value and the pieces to solve that next year. You could even bring in like another older guy, just straight pay for Alvin Kamara and bring him on this team. You've got so many dudes here. Like, do you need Mike Evans? I would do the classic. If Devonta Smith is your 5th guy, I would be selling Devonta Smith. Send Devonta Smith, and I just mentioned this in this video, sell Devonta Smith and a 2nd or a 3rd to the guy with Devontae Adams and get a 1st back. So you get Adams and a 1st, and then, if you're getting a 26 first and then have 3 firsts, you can then sell those 3 firsts for a stud receiver. So you would have like Chase, Harrison, and Jigba. If you have 3 firsts and something else, and you have then Brian Thomas Jr., Garrett Wilson would then move down to your 5th guy, and then you would have Devontae Adams as like your 6th receiver. That's the type of move we're looking for on a team like this, where it's 10 by 10. You got to have the top studs. Devontae Adams will produce really well, and just because he's probably retiring soon, his value is really low. But the production will be good. And I would move Kyle Williams to make that deal. I would move Trey Harris to make that deal. With a team like yours, I'm not really concerned about getting one of these guys to pop off. I just want to win the championship now. This team looks better, but the best team on paper going into the year doesn't win the championship as much as we think. You just want to be in the top 2, and you're one of the top 2 teams. So let's get more production where we can. Speaking of getting more production where we can, we may need to just move Trevor Lawrence entirely, even if it's selling down. I may wait until like week 3 to do it, because it's not really you've got enough to fill out a lineup before bye weeks. But if Trevor Lawrence starts showing that he's doing well, I don't need to have that for the next couple of years. I would just sell it high and roll with Hurts and Mayfield and get Trevor Lawrence into another running back or moving up to stud receivers. Like, you're at the point where you could be pairing guys and going from JSN to the other top options. Like, reach out to the guy. I mean, maybe it's this guy who has Malik Neighbors, but you're in the conversation where you can just pay the high price to move up to those guys and push for the championship. As soon as any of these guys pop off, I'm just selling them for seconds to then keep funneling into the lineup. It looks like you got a bunch of rookie picks this year, like Brashard Smith, Trevor Etienne, Devin Neal. Maybe that's all of them. Those are the moves I would make if this was my team. Thank you very much for submitting it. As always, here's the trade calculator. This is not a trade calculator. I'll probably rename this. But it just sends an email to me, and then I look at the trade as you suggested it and let you know what I think. Thank you very much. On to the next one. That was JaceEdgar. Let's start with bobbynobreaks, who has 3 teams. He's got trades, bobbynobreaks. Yeah. bobbynobreaks. Pretty good was bobbynobreaks. Warner Brutta was bobbynobreaks. What is this? This one we just looked at? Yeah. Okay. A little bit of housekeeping. We got 3 teams for Bobby Breaks, who is in a 10 team, a 12 team start 11, and a 10 team start 13 standard. So this is probably IDPs. Because you submitted 3, I'm probably just going to stick with the ones that I feel more confident on and get to other people before diving into an IDP league. And I think that there's something bugged here, or yeah, there's probably just something bugged with my site, or this league isn't drafted. I'm not going to spend any more time talking about it. You get 2 free reviews. I don't mean that for everyone. I just mean right now I'm going to look at 2 of your teams. 10 teams, start 10, Superflex. Bobby No Breaks is got trades. He is at the bottom, but so here's one of the times where I really mention this. Man, I don't care about keep trade cut value. Look how close all of these are. Any one of these teams could win the playoffs based on how the production breaks this year. Let's go position by position. 10 by 10. Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray. This is great. Like, you got tons of flexibility if we need to make moves in Jalen Hurts, tons of production. Kyler Murray will give you great production. We've got some upside with Bryce Young. This is a really, really good 4. A good 5 would be like Hurts and Lamar to give you a gauge of, like, this team is really good at quarterback. Running backs, Saquon Barkley, Breece Hall, Tony Pollard. That's 3 starters. We got Ray Davis, has some upside, could possibly be a flex guy for you. This is probably a week 4 to a 3. The value doesn't matter here. We're just kind of looking to see where you're strong. So you've got quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. Probably not as strong. A.J. Brown, Ricky Pearsall, Chris Olave, Luther Burden, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Stephon Diggs. So it looks like we are hoping to get some cheap production. I like A.J. Brown. I probably would want something a little bit more ahead of him, but this isn't going to kill you. It's probably like a week 3, maybe a 2. Tight ends, Terrence Ferguson, Jake Ferguson, Cade Otton, Put Fries in Mouth, Mike Gesicki, Darren Waller. We might need to get a tight end. And now when I'm looking at the team, I don't know where your firsts went. I would be hoping to see like more value. It looks like you believe you're contending a lot, but when I'm looking at the rest of this, you're just kind of in the pack. So can we do some things to get you ahead? What sort of trades can we make? The thing that would get you ahead would be like a tear down from Hurts, but you would need someone to pay Hurts for Hurts as always like QB4. Otherwise, we're kind of just hoping that some veterans hang on and then rebuilding or reloading with other pieces. We got a couple guys at age cliffs, like Jacoby Myers might not even be. I'm expecting him to be something in Vegas, but we don't know that he's going to do anything again next year. Stephon Diggs is, I'm not surprised if he's in his last year. Devontae Adams, I'm not surprised if he's in his last year. If we don't have firsts for next year, like, we're hoping Pearsall hits, we're hoping Olave bounces back and is fully healthy, and we're hoping Luther Burden hits. And I'm a big Bears fan. I don't know that it's going to happen. And then we just don't have a tight end. Let's try to build out a 10-man lineup and see where we're feeling, where are we feeling gaps. So we've got Hurts and Murray, and something has to go in at tight end. It'll be one of those guys each week. So we're at 3. And we've got Barkley, Breece. We're probably going to be starting Pollard, but we'll come back to it. A.J. Brown, Pearsall, Olave, Luther Burden, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers. Like, we do get to 10. I just don't feel the amount of eliteness that you'll need to get to a championship. So can we get more production at tight end? Can you get Kittle? Kittle is an older guy who you may be able to get for cheaper. I don't know that this guy's moving Kittle if you're not sending him a tight end back and you don't really have one. What's this guy's plan? He's also moved some firsts and doesn't really have a tight end to move. Hawkinson is a guy I like. I mean, this guy has Pitts. Does he trust Pitts? Could you get Hawkinson from him? Looking at what you've got, I mean, if you move Bryce and just get a receiver or up tier with Burden to a better receiver, that would probably make me feel more comfortable because Bryce is probably on your bench most weeks. And we're just looking to get 1 to 2 more elite pieces, probably at receiver. That's probably what I would need to feel like this is a contending team. So moving Bryce, I would try to pair him with Burden, but I would be open to other guys. I feel like I'm only giving you one trade path here. You could tear down from Saquon. His value is really high. It'll remove some risk for this team. You don't even need, you can stick with a veteran guy. If you went from Saquon to Kamara, who's probably going to produce really well. You're in a half PPR. He's fine in half PPR. Saquon to Kamara, you can probably get a first on there or almost a first, and then trade that first with someone else to up tier at receiver. I'm not really looking to up tier from AJ Brown. I think his value is in a really good spot compared to the production you're going to get over the next couple of years. Same with Pearsall. If someone's going to pay you high for Olave, that's a move I would make. Burden is the most obvious option for me. Or if anyone in your league thinks Stephon Diggs is anything, I'm selling. Same thing with Jacoby Myers to just get more sure, higher tier assets for this team. Let's go to your next one. This is also for bobbynobreaks. Pretty good. I'm hoping to see some Brock Purdy. League is all pretty close. No clear monster teams. We'll see if there's a lot of contenders. We'll see your team. Looks like you've moved a first again. Quarterbacks. Is this a 1 QB? 12-team Superflex start 11. Let's see where we're at. Brock Purdy, Jackson Dart. I mean, this is Daniel Jones. Probably a 2. You may have a starter in Joe Flacco. We're trying to piece together a QB2. And Brock Purdy is probably a top 12 quarterback in terms of production. Could go as high as QB8, QB7, and it wouldn't surprise me. But nothing that we feel sure about. Not a lot of flexibility with value. Running backs, Chuba Hubbard, David Montgomery. Again, probably good production, not a ton of trade value or flexibility, not a lot of room to make a ton of moves. Wide receivers, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Here's where the team is. Chase, Jefferson, Evans, and then Kirk, Pierce, Wilson, Jalen Lane, Diami Brown. I think we're going to start to have some problems when we are trying to find 11 guys. Kittle, likely, Goddard. Okay, this is a 3, and then we don't have a future first next year. So it's always helpful for me. Sometimes this is just for me to count out, can we get 11? We got Purdy and Dart, or Daniel Jones we're hoping, or Flacco we're hoping. But we might not have anyone week 1. So we're at 2, and we got Kittle, and now we got to get to 11. Hubbard and Montgomery are starting each week. Algiers probably filling in on bye weeks, and that's not amazing. And then we have Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans. Now we're at Christian Kirk, Alec Pierce, and Michael Wilson as the third options. And I think that's where you're going to start losing weeks. And the most obvious spot to tear down is these 2 guys. Your value is not that far off. We're not getting another excellent player in 26. So it's probably time to come down from one of these guys. Come down from Jamar Chase to Brian Thomas Jr. and, a first and more. Or come down from Justin Jefferson. A deal I saw and talked about yesterday or the other day in a video was, I think someone got Brian Thomas Jr. and Chase Brown for Justin Jefferson. We're looking for stuff like that. You already have 2 running backs. When we're looking at deals like this, we're looking to get the most value that we can in the tear down, regardless of position, because we're probably going to trade the piece we get. So if you get Chase Brown and you're like, I've already got 2 running backs, that's fine. We'll move one of those, or we'll move Chase Brown with a second and get another receiver. We're trying to fill out lineup spots because you're down 2 or 3. That's if you're going for it this year. And it looks like you are because you don't have that first for next year. If you don't see your team as going for it this year or next year, then we got to start the fire sale. If your team's not competing in the year that it is or the next year, I don't care about young cornerstone assets. I care about value rising assets. So Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson in that situation are not value risers. They're very, very good, but they're leaky bucket players. Over time, it's just going to keep coming down. So instead of losing that value, you want to get either a pick out of them that will counteract the player value that you would lose. So that would be, like I mentioned, tearing down to Brian Thomas Jr., and then extra picks that will increase in value, or some of these players that I have listed here as value risers. So you'd be looking to get JSN, who could improve, Roma Dunze, who could improve in value, Ricky Pearsall, one of Xavier Legette or Keon Coleman as cheaper ones. Those are guys that you could get for a second that may become a first in value this year. I don't want to spend a bunch of seconds and get both. I'm usually just getting one of them. Rashee Rice will probably gain in value before the season even starts. If you're not going for it in 25, then definitely just get Rashee Rice, especially if he's suspended. Same thing with Jordan Addison. You buy them cheap and then sell them when the suspension is over. Because if you're not going for it, you don't care about points. And I'm not sure if you are contending. You've got Brock Purdy and Jackson Dart, like we're hoping. Jackson Dart's already a value riser, and we don't see the pieces to bolster quarterback if you're not willing to move these guys. So we'll wrap that one up because we did 2 for you. I mean, you're close enough that you could probably contend. It just, the league looks like it's going to be a crapshoot compared to other leagues that have super teams. If you have any questions, let me know in the YouTube comments or reach out through TikTok in a video, preferably in the comments. Just give me that engagees. Thank you very much. I'll mark yours as complete. My family's not home yet, so I'll keep going. That was bobbynobreaks. We're on to lostkite, the 1%ers. I like that funny name. And then we have 4 from A. Taylor. So we may do 1 for, oh gosh, and then we got even more after that. Let's take a look at the one we just loaded. lostkite, top of the 1%ers, 1% of the 1% in a 12-team start 10 PPR, small tight end premium, super flex. I don't care a ton about this keep trade cut value column. It's here to put teams like this at the bottom and just make things like this clear, that there are 2 dead teams. Oh, sorry, Papa Kite. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 1.5, 2. It doesn't, this part doesn't really matter. There are some good teams and some bad teams. That's how you say that. Quarterbacks, what have you got? You got Caleb Williams, Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones. You got 2 starters. You got maybe a starter in Flacco and Jones. Joe Milton as a long range dart throw. This is probably a 3. I think Caleb Williams' production does improve this year compared to last year. And the QB 10 price on him for the production he did last year and his age and a chance at a breakout, that's fine for me. Kyler Murray is going to give you top 10 production. Running backs, Bucky Irving, Ken Bone Walker, James Cook, Tajay Spears. You got 3 starters that feel good. And then Spears is filling in on some bye weeks. Jonathan Brooks, maybe he raises from his grave. And then some dart throw boys, some DTBs. This is a solid 3. Could be a week 4, but we're feeling okay. We're feeling okay. Wide receivers, Malik Neighbors, BTJ, really good. Ibuka, we hope that he hits this year. Jameson Williams, overvalued. DJ Moore, undervalued. We're looking at, Neighbors and Thomas probably gets you to a 4, and then we've got to put together some other pieces. Tight ends, Tucker Kraft, he's fine. I don't know that he's going to stick, but this is probably a decent 2. So you're at the top. What can we do to make sure you get a championship? Because you're contending this year. You're contending probably next year. you're probably contending for the next couple years. So let's start making moves that get you from contending to get you to the 1 seed, that get you to the finals, that get you to money. I'm moving Jameson Williams right now. If he breaks out like people thinks he is, then he's just worth wide receiver 22, wide receiver 21, wide receiver 20. The ceiling that people talk about is kind of this price, and he's already at it. It's maybe a little bit higher, and it's not that likely. So if I can take Jameson Williams and pair him with, can I get a great running back pairing him with Bucky Irving? Or can I go with Ken Walker and James Cook as my guys and move Bucky Irving with Jameson Williams and get an amazing receiver? I'm starting to look for things like that, and I'm shooting really high. I'm starting at Puka. I'm starting at Drake London. I'm starting at Amon-Ra. I'm shooting incredibly high and seeing what I can get, pairing a really young, great running back and a really young, fine wide receiver that people think is really good. So that's the first option of moves to make to get you over the edge. If you're going for it, the 112, it's not amazing. Let's shoot for getting the 112 and sell that as though it's not the 112. We're looking to get another receiver in between Brian Thomas and Ibuka. So if we have to move Jameson Williams and a first to get up to Drake London, that's going to help you get over the edge. Because let's put together a starting 10. I don't know that I have for you. We've got Williams and Murray, Irving, Walker. James Cook's probably going to be a flex for you, so I'll just put that up. Tucker Kraft is starting every week or something at tight end. And then you've got Neighbors, Thomas, Ibuka, Williams, DJ Moore filling in some weeks. Let's start moving up and tiering up where we can. We can do some cheekier moves and tier up at other spots, but stay production lateral by moving Bucky Irving for Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's probably going to produce again for another year, and you can get more from the Henry owner. He'll be getting some youth, and you're getting a pick that buys you more youth. So you don't really have to worry about that youth because you're getting all of that production and either a pick to get more lineup production or a pick to get more youth. Players you could get, I like Kamara. Kamara's going to be, you do have a full PPR. Kamara's going to be really good. Amy's at the bottom has Kamara. Is she selling him? Is she selling Kamara and Saquon because her team is the weakest? I guess it's the weakest. Well, yeah, because she needs a receiver. Can you move Jameson Williams and something to her to get Kamara and Saquon? I would look at that. For a team like that, you come in, I don't know that you need to come at them with a great price up front because this team's rebuilding, or this team's just really bad. Like, they're not rebuilding. They don't have picks for the future. If you want to get really risky, you grab Justin Fields from them and you get full price on Caleb Williams. Then you're just running Murray and Fields, who are probably going to be top 12 quarterbacks this year, and it just makes the rest of your lineup really good. None of these deals that I mention are about acquiring picks for the future, but I'm open to you acquiring picks to then sell those picks for players now. That's the type of moves that I'm looking for on a team like this. If Jalen Noel shows anything, if Isaac Tesla shows anything, you're already at the top. I'm trying to, as soon as I can cash those in for good seconds, I probably am. And then I'm using those seconds to just keep bolstering the top of the lineup. Or I would use that second, say you get a second for Jalen Noel, you're then using that to move from DJ Moore to someone a couple years younger than him. DJ Moore to Devonta Smith, who's going to produce and is a few years younger. That's kind of where I'm looking to go. Alrighty, if you have any questions, you let me know in the YouTube comments. You can send any trades through the trade calculator option. It notifies me and I respond with my thoughts. Thank you very much for submitting this one. Okay, looks like A. Taylor submitted 1, 2, 3. Here's the last one as of early this morning, so we may just leave these guys for tomorrow, or we'll see how we feel. A. Taylor Champ is the team name. So I assume you won the championship. This is a 12-team start 11 with a beefier tight end premium. You're at the top by a little bit. You've got no 26 first, so I'm hoping to see a good lineup ready to contend for a while. Let's go quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, Jordan Love. That's a quarterback pair I like. I think the price or the value on Joe Burrow is a tinge high, but it doesn't make me mad. You got two guys that are probably going to finish top 12 in production. I think Jordan Love, some of why we saw him backslide last year was just because he hurt his knee in week 1. And he didn't have any good receivers. Like Jaden Reed's just not a great receiver. So we're looking good. I'm going to close a 4. Running backs, Breece Hall, Chase Brown, McCaffrey, Javonte Williams. Really strong 3 or a weak 4. Like you're looking really good. This can contend again. Wide receivers, Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Matthew Golden, Tyreek Hill, Jalen McMillan. We probably want to add a little bit here. Tight ends, George Kittle, Mark Andrews with the beefier tight end premium. That will help. Kittle gets a lot of receptions. I looked at Mark Andrews. He gets like 2 or 3. Travis Kelce's probably in your starting lineup quite a bit with that tight end premium. So the team looks good. There's not a ton of guys at the age cliff. You don't have picks to replace them next year, so we're probably contending now, and we're open to rebuilding, or not rebuilding, like starting to retool some things next year. So let's think about moves that help with that. I don't really want to move on from Malik Neighbors right now, but I would definitely be open to it after this year. If he gets into that Justin Jefferson tier at the top, like you would be tearing down a little bit and adding another receiver, but that's something I would do next offseason. Tyreek Hill, can you move him? If you're looking to keep things rolling and pull from 2027, I don't know that I would, but you might be. I would do it with Tyreek Hill and a 27 first. Can I just get a good young receiver now? Can I get JSN? Can I get Marv? Can I get Nico Collins? Can I get Drake London if I do that? And then I don't care as much about needing a first because I would have Neighbors, Amon-Ra, Golden, and whichever receiver you get. All with the option to tier down from them as needed to bolster things for the next year. So let's build out an 11 and see how we're feeling because we may need to fill in some slots. We got Burrow, Love, Kittle, Breece Hall, Chase Brown, Christian McCaffrey, all probably starting weekly. Neighbors, Amon-Ra, Golden, Hill, Tyreek Hill, and then Travis Kelce as 11. We'll feel weak on bye weeks. We'll feel weak if there's any injuries. And then we would feel weak if Tyreek Hill doesn't bounce back. I think Jalen McMillan is a sneaky okay starter. I know they drafted Ibuka, but Ibuka's a rookie, and Jalen McMillan is there. Chris Godwin is recovering from an injury. I would not be surprised if he's producing at the beginning of the year. So I'm not opposed to moving a first, but I would be doing it to mitigate some of the age issues that we have. Moving a first and Andrews for a young receiver. Moving a first and Hill for a young receiver. That's the big moves that I see possible for you. But I think you're contending. I think you're contending this year. As soon as any of these guys are named starter, I would probably just move them and move on from that headache and get more production into your lineup. I'm not shooting for the moon on these. I'm just shooting for sure things that are producing to help me repeat as champion. Scanning the rest of it, that's about it that I see. Just be open to moving a tight end, pair them with a second to mitigate some of the age issues, and you can usually get full price for them. If you have any questions, let me know. My family just got home, so I'm going to stop there on this one for you A Taylor. I see you've got a couple others that I'll probably do in the next set. We'll wrap the video up at 2 hours. Thank you very much, everyone, for submitting your teams.